prayer night for the helpless. Hoping you get us through breakfast. Wishing somebody come save us. Black lightning's back, come to shock the haters.
Welcome, Amalga-Maniacs, to the very first Amalga cast. This is a new show where we talk about issues or comics or shows. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Black Lightning. In addition to Santino, Mr. Ian Wallace, and myself, we'll also be bringing in guests tonight. We have Mr. Justin Cooper, Mr. Mark Anthony Wade Lynch from the Old Man Elite Show, and one of our very own admin, Miss Jessica Jess Cusco.
Hey!
Hey!
What's going on?
Hey, Jessica.
Yeah, creep your sweet Christmas, man.
What? I can say hi to the pretty girl if I want to.
Hi, Rihanna.
You sound like Killmonger in
I've been working on that. I've been working on my Killmonger for a minute now. This is my first time getting it out in public. But yeah, we're here to do the Black Lightning show. Introductions have been done. You know who everybody is. You know the players. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of background to the audience. This show is going to be about a lot of different things, but mostly it's about getting the perspective of this show from different culturistic points of view. That's pretty much the crux of the show. We just want to see what everybody thinks of it from a different type of, a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people on this show this time, and we want to know what it's about. So, there you go.
Cool.
All right, we're going to start off by talking about the history of Black Lightning. So what we'd like to know is what your first introduction to the character was. How far back do you and Black Lightning go? Has he been a favorite character of yours, etc.? And what did you already know about the history of Black Lightning before the show started? Santino, since you're closest to me, we'll start with you.
For real. I'm probably the only one out of the whole group that really doesn't know much, because all I knew about Black Lightning was everything that I knew from Super Friends, and that was it. You know what I mean? That was it.
Super Friends, like the first, like the old school Super Friends?
Yeah, the old school Super Friends.
Whoa, from way back.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's Black Lightning.
Well, I mean, that's all I really had. You know what I mean?
That's very Black Lightning.
Super Black Lightning.
Super Black Lightning.
Yeah. That's
back when he had the tracksuit with the afro.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then after that,
Great reference, by the way.
The Justice League Unlimited. It was one of the episodes where it was Black Lightning. What's the Asian homie? The tornado.
Red Tornado?
No, not Red Tornado.
The Indian guy.
No. He's
the samurai guy.
Yeah. He's like a Japanese.
Yeah. He's like a samurai, and he's got like a ponytail. I forget his name. I know exactly what you're talking about. And just his bottom half is a tornado.
Yeah.
Just like his part waist down. Huh?
Dolly Parton.
Yes, but no. But yes, though. But no. That's also correct and incorrect. I like that.
But for real, my whole knowledge of Black Lightning was just that media. But I'm also the type of person that it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If it involves comic books, superheroes, I'm watching it. So as soon as I heard about Black Lightning, I was like, I'm gonna watch it, and it looked good. You know what I mean? The trailer looked good. You know what I mean? I stay up on all the CW shows except for probably Legends and Supergirl, because those are like my two least favorites.
Yeah, that's
those
fair.
are just my two least favorites.
No, that's fair.
All right, Ian, what about you?
What about me? I'm gonna take
What
this.
about Raven?
I'm gonna take this couple of minutes to make this all about me, since she messed up and asked me the question.
There goes the whole
what
show.
About? That's everything.
We're done.
Everybody else go home. What about me? Let me tell you about me. I've been up since 6:45 this morning. They messed up the Beatrice Lilies at Primanti's Brothers, and they didn't have no pastrami on the sandwich. Atop the sandwich, remember? Atop the sandwich. There was no pastrami. No pastrami atop the sandwich. That's what's going. No, seriously, me. I got my first Black Lightning fix. I would say, man, anything with Justice League in it, because the Justice League is so big. If you read any Justice League stories, you're gonna bump into these characters, and that was my first experience with Black Lightning. I had seen, of course, the older pictures of Black Lightning and then Super Friends and that media, but in the books, I was exposed to him when he and Batman were infiltrating. Which I thought it was really cool that Batman picked Black Lightning to do this mission with, but they were infiltrating the Legionnaires or Legion of Superheroes or something, and they ended up getting into a fight with Karate Kid. the two of them ended up jumping Karate Kid and defeating him because they couldn't beat him. Bats couldn't beat him one-on-one. So they had there was a storyline where they teamed up and kind of were going against Val Armour, the Karate Kid, and I thought it was really cool. So I was like, who is this dude? And I didn't realize that the Black Lightning from the book was the same one from the Super Friends show. And I didn't know his name was Black Lightning until I read through, and he said Dr. Pierce. Then he called him Black Lightning. And I was like, "This is that Black Lightning from Wow," because he had the bald head and the goggles.
Yeah, he
and
probably
he had that one piece suit on. He looked completely different. So I was like, "Wow, this is Black Lightning." And I started boning up on him in the DC books, and he was just his skill set is what made me look into him because I seen him in the other media, the Batman versus Superman. Batman Superman Public Enemies, and he was one of the front runners of the people who were set to go capture Superman and Batman. Which, this is Superman and Batman we're talking about. So anybody who they send to go capture these two guys must be on point. So I just did more, just learning about the character, and I realized how powerful he was and how underutilized he was. Black Lightning is a very, very powerful DC character. Like, he's definitely in that top echelon with Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Obviously, he's not utilized like that because they tried to make him solo. They tried to add him to the Justice League at the same time, off and on. He got his daughters and this, that, and the third. So they used him in a lot of different genres, but that's how I got exposed to him, was through the books mainly. Obviously, I saw him in the same media as everyone else did, the cartoons, the movies, all of that. But the books were my main exposure because I thought it was really cool that this black guy was hanging out with Batman, and not only hanging out with him, but Batman picked him to team up. And I was like, what's so special about this dude? And I started to learn about Jefferson Pierce. Lots of interesting things about that character.
All right, Mr. Cooper.
My first experience with Black Lightning, definitely the superpowers and the Super Friends. As Santina was saying, that guy's name was Samurai. Actually, he just had Samurai.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I would say the Sinbad sketch from Saturday Night Live, right, where he was invited to Superman's funeral, and they even invited the Hulk, played by Chris Farley, and Sinbad was Black Lightning, like that. I would say that's up there, and we would be really remiss not to mention that.
Yeah.
And one more thing that was kind of interesting that we kind of touched on when we were talking about Public Enemies, when President Luthor. Lex Luthor elected president in the comics in the year 2000, right? Jefferson Pierce signed on as, I think,
like the
Department of Was he Homeland Security?
I know, he was something. I remember he was a part of the cabinet, though. He was part of Luthor's cabinet.
He was. I thought it was like education or something like that. But the real big thing I noticed on that is that's when I was big into reading Green Arrow, and that's when they crossed over. And I'll probably talk more about that a little bit later. But that's a key story in my
Black
eyes.
Lightning and Green Arrow, that's a good team up, yo. Wow.
All right, Old Man Wade.
Last but certainly not least, I'm actually...
You're not last. Look at him being all dramatic. He said, well, since I'm last, and Terry Barber made me go last, and he knocks the paper. People at home can't see it. He knocked a bunch of papers off the desk. It was terrible. Go ahead, Mr. Wade, sir.
But so I'm probably the one person here who doesn't have a lot of knowledge on the DC universe up until recently. I was trying to figure out when I actually saw him first, but both Ian and Coop brought up when I saw him first was the Public Enemy cartoon. And I thought he was dope, but it was like, if you're gonna, and I think Coop just said, like, if you're gonna, or Ian when you guys said it, if you're gonna bring somebody in to take down two of the most iconic and most skilled and powerful heroes of comic books, and you're bringing in a guy like Black Lightning for like the A-Team, he must be something real. I came across the series last year accidentally. A buddy of mine said I should watch it, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. I ended up getting a gig for a website that I write for, and they needed someone to cover Black Lightning. So I had to catch up on 6 episodes in a couple days. And I got into it. I'm like, oh, okay. And I got into that, and then he happened to pop up in the Injustice 2 comic book and the Injustice 2 video game.
Yeah.
I started reading, I'm not sure the name of the DC series where Darkseid and Batman had their final confrontation, but there was a part. Thank you, Final Crisis. And there's a side story where Jefferson had to move some people from one place to the next, and just watching him be heroic in a time where everything was essentially like apocalypse, I thought was damn cool.
Jessica.
All right, so I'm gonna top
Well, it wasn't less.
have no knowledge, and I literally knew nothing of this. So basically what happened was Ian messaged me asking if I had ever watched it before, and the only thing I knew of it was that he would constantly post on Amalga-Mania random stuff about Black Lightning. And I was like, okay. I tried to get into Supergirl a while ago because I cosplay as her, but I just couldn't. And then once I saw that Black Lightning was also CW, I was like, I'll be honest, I've always been like a Marvel girl. I don't care for DC that much.
High five to you.
Huh?
High five to you.
There was some gurgling in the background. It's just static.
A static shock? Huh?
Yep.
But I will say, like, when I started watching and everything and I really got into it, I was like, damn, like, I'm really mad that I didn't give it a chance on my own, but I'm really glad I did get to watch it.
Alright. And some of you talked about having little knowledge, and I think I might actually win the least knowledge award for this because I had no knowledge of the character whatsoever, and when I heard it, I thought that it was something like, what was that Bill Cosby superhero movie?
Oh, dear Lord.
Brown
Oh,
something.
Brown Hornet.
Yes, the Brown Hornet.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the movie where he was throwing like ground beef
Remember
at
from
people.
Fat Albert?
No,
The
not
Brown
that.
Hornet was
the
like,
movie that he did.
yeah.
That was the Brown Hornet?
Yeah, it was a spoof from Fat Albert with the superhero from Fat Albert.
Yeah, so I thought
Oh, no.
Black Lightning was like Brown Hornet, like it was one of those kinds of characters. And
I thought she was gonna watch Black Dynamite.
Right.
I thought she was gonna watch Black Dynamite shit.
so I had the eye roll. I was thinking, oh my gosh, something about the urban poor.
It's a direct ripoff of Picture Pages.
And there's
If you're not born in the 80s, you won't get that. Sorry,
So I
Jessica.
thought it was gonna be
All good.
I don't know, corny. I didn't realize that it was this whole other. Like I didn't realize he was an actual character. I thought it was somebody who was just made up so they could make a show. I didn't realize that he was already a previously established character. And like with Jessica, Ian messaged me, "Have you seen the show? This is an awesome show." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." But then I finally did sit down to watch it, and I was impressed by things like the cinematography, by the depth of the characters, the dynamism of the characters, etc. Which actually goes into our next topic: your impressions of. I almost said Black Dynamite. Your impressions of.
Black Dynamite!
Be quiet before you wake the rest
What
of
did I
the
tell you about interrupting my kung fu?
I need you to shut the fuck up.
Now hold on, goddammit. Now hold on. All right. Okay, this is what we're not gonna have. This is what's not going on. All right, we're not gonna turn this into the Black Dynamite Kung Fu Hour. All right, this is about Black Light.
We gotta do a Black Dynamite show.
We definitely do. I'll wear an afro for that one personally.
Ian, you might be a comic book door,
When
but
I
a lot of us
cosplay
are
Trinity, we'll do a
fast.
Black Dynamite show. All right, so.
I need better friends.
Can we talk about Black Dynamite instead?
No, we cannot. No. All right? That's it. We're cutting it off right there. No more Black Dynamite. Jessica has been waiting to do this show for 4 days. And we're going to do it. All right?
My bad.
I
got
love how you
him
put it
under
all on me.
I got him under control, Jessica. Continue.
I'm sorry.
But what was your next?
All
What was
right.
the next part?
Black Lightning, the TV show. So we talked about previous knowledge of the character.
Of the character, yeah.
Right. What are your impressions of the TV show? However much or however little you've seen so far, what do you think of it?
You already know my stamp of approval. I talk that shit up all the time. All the time. I think for a CW show, compared to Arrow, Flash, Legends, Supergirl, it's a hell of a change of pace. It's definitely 180. It's a lot more. It's a lot to me at least. It's a lot more relatable. I feel like there's a lot more realer things going on. That you know they have a way. I feel like they have a way of throwing the realism in with the fantasy. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure they're gonna get to the point where like somebody's gonna try to destroy the whole city and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's coming to that. You know what I mean? But as far as the first season goes, there was just a lot of stuff that I could relate to, and a lot of stuff that was just like a lot of powerful moments. A lot of powerful moments. As opposed to like I said, Arrow, Flash, which they do have their powerful moments, but some of these moments, like these were like moments that like had me choked up. Like, yo, don't be a bitch right now. Don't be a bitch, Tino. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But that's just me. That's just me.
Well, honestly, I was in the same boat as Mark Wade. Tino called me last year sometime, and it was when we were just starting to get Who Dares Wins syndicated and on air or whatever, and we were just starting to do the beginning recordings for the show. I was ridiculously busy. The market was just like an idea, like the online store was just an idea, and it was a ridiculously busy time. And as this ridiculously busy time happened, I got a call from Tino, and he told me that there's a show on CW, Black Lightning. And I told him, oh yeah, that's my guy, Jefferson Pierce. Like, I know the dude, I know the character very well. I can't wait to see this, but I'll have to get around to it when I can get around to it. Reviews, Infinity War hadn't come out. We had movie reviews to do.
I was like,
I said, look, I'll get around to it when I get to it. And this guy literally was like, I mean, you see the size of me and this guy sitting next to each other. It's very surreal when he's like, you're going to come over here once, like right now, you're going to come see the show. And I'm like, listen, I can't wait. No, you're going to come right now. You're on your way there. And I'm like, no, I can't. I got it. Okay, so I'll see you when you get here. And hangs the phone up. And I'm driving around for like an hour, and I'm like, I'm scared to not go over there. So I went over there, and I watched the first episode, and man, I got to say, first of all, as a comic book fan, this show rivals the best comic book show out right now, which I believe is Daredevil. And I think that this show is easily on par with it. Easily. On top of that fact, the fact that they took a non-script or a not as popular DC character, and that they gave him the notoriety that he deserves, being that he was, a well-used character throughout time, like we just said. This character has popped up since the 70s and 80s in different types of media. And now he's just now getting his own show, which I thought was really dope. So I said, all right, yeah, I gave it a try. And man, I'm telling you, that show hit me like a ton of bricks. It really did. The first episode really had me, I was emotionally moved, which doesn't, first of all, I'm not a very emotional guy. Very sensitive man, very delicate man. But I'm not very emotional. And this show, really invoked a lot of emotion from me, and that's very weird because it doesn't happen. And I had to watch the whole thing, and I did religiously. Every week it came out with a new episode. I would be at Tino's house, or he would come here, and we would watch the show together.
Yeah, we had mandates.
We had mandates. That's right. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You can have a couple of mandates for the real man, and that's fine. Yeah,
like Love Fest.
Yeah. But we did our thing every week and watched the show. And,
mind you, it would take us 3 hours to get through one episode. To get
one episode take us 3.5 hours. It would take us about 45 minutes to actually watch the bitch, and about 2 hours and 15 minutes to discuss what the fuck we just watched. And I mean, every single detail, the cinematography, the script, the different things, and the point, some of the things that this show would bring up. Again, not only emotionally but socially and to make us aware of certain things. It was like we would build and talk for hours about this stuff. And I said to myself, I gotta expose anyone I know to this masterpiece. And this was literally 5 episodes in for the first season. And obviously I didn't get as many people to watch it as I wanted to, but enough did, and here we are. So that was my first experience with it. If it wasn't for Tina, I wouldn't have been put on it, and I'm so glad that he did put me onto it.
I appreciate you guys taking the recommendations.
Yeah, it's either that or something bad was going to happen to us, so,
All right, Justin, impressions of the show.
Oh, you want me to go after that? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the theme song. It's one of the things that hits me. The first thing when I hear it. Last night I saw a hero and he was black and his name was Lightning, and I'm like, man, that's gonna get you and just drive home. This is not your regular superhero show. This is something a little bit different. It's something that is going to be relevant, in the take on the characters. It's not stale. Everything that they have, it's not a formula like when you watch The Flash, which is pretty much like watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Okay, what's our bad guy today? Here's his funny name. And I love The Flash.
Yeah.
You know what? I got to defend it.
Yeah,
I love
definitely.
Legends too, because if they're going to put Rip Hunter and it's going to be about time travel, I'm all about it. But the thing that you guys are missing, CW does great stuff. You forget that they had Smallville for years, and they've been running Supernatural. They have the
15
chops.
years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
CW has longevity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, how
They
long
around,
is
they gonna be
Supernatural
around.
going? But this is a good show. This is a fun show. Is it on par with Daredevil? Absolutely. It's on par with anything that I've seen. And I'm going to let you guys talk more about it, but I just wanted to go back to that theme song. I was trying to get the lyrics for it just now. If anybody knows them, man, call them out. But, yeah, the theme song is pretty killer.
I'll find them.
Most Def, right?
Yeah. What?
Is that Most Def?
I think it is.
Cuckoo!
I mean, I'm not 100% sure that wrote the original Black Lightning theme for the first season. I think it sounds like Most Def. I don't know if it is him.
I'm gonna peep it out. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
I'll check it
I have
out.
a really good ear for hip hop, and that sounds like my man. So, Mr. Wade.
All right. So before I get into this, I really want to know how, are we just starting with season 1, or are we just talking about our overall feeling of it in general? Because there's a couple ways I can go with this.
As long as you don't bring up too much advanced spoilers, go for it. You talk about both seasons. It don't matter.
All right. So, when I first saw the show as a black male, the people who can't see me, I was hit hard with the immediate, with them immediately showing Jefferson getting pushed over the hood of a car and being assaulted by a police officer when he didn't even fit the description of a person, and then him driving away, and then the cops driving away as he's yelling, "What did I do?" And then and also being a person who has the physical strength to do something, watching him having to hold back was an intense moment for me. And I was kind of sucked in from that moment alone, because I don't necessarily like a lot of cookie cutter shows. I like shows that can, I don't say push the envelope, because sometimes people push the envelope and it's just bad. But they brought a lot of awareness to things that go on. In season 1, it was a lot of base things. When I say base, it's sad that I say that, but it's like police brutality. Watching Anissa's parents, Jefferson and Lynn, accept the fact that her daughter was gay. That was big, because that's something in the black community where they're not accepting of the homosexual community. So they were a family. So the black family was something else that I really took in, was really happy about. If they weren't a stereotype of something that you may see on other shows, it wasn't like a Medea joke. It wasn't wholesome like the Cosbys. It was something that I could see other people relating to. An image I'll never get out of my head is an episode of season 1 when Jefferson, they made him bend over and cough for a crime he didn't commit.
Yeah.
That episode sticks in my head forever. Yeah. And so there were a lot of base issues, but for me they hit hard. And now the first 2 episodes we've seen in season 2, they've gone a little bit deeper into things. They Robert Townsend being a little more aggressive than I'm used to him seeing. He's Meteor Man. He's the guy from the Townsend show. Yeah. So seeing him really be angrier and playing a proud black male, when he's like, you're not gonna call me Uncle Tom. He goes, be careful, you're pretty close to calling me a house nigga. It was, I was just like, damn. So the fact they went there with it gave me a feeling that season 1 was their test run to see how far they can go. Season 2 started with a young black kid getting choked out and killed by the cops. Yeah. So it was they're definitely going with a different approach. And without spoiling too much, season 2 hasn't given us a lot of Black Lightning. they haven't given us a lot of superpowers. They're giving us an actual show. And I think that's maybe the most important part of Black Lightning, is because with a lot of shows, you go with a gimmick. Iron Fist. If you don't see any kung fu, it's not necessarily a good show. But you can have an episode of Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, or Daredevil without them using their powers, and it's still a great show. It's still an intense project you're watching. And I've noticed these last couple of episodes, you might see Black Lightning in his costume once. And you're not really seeing Anissa use her superpowers. So they're creating something that a lot of superhero shows don't do. They're creating an actual show that doesn't necessarily need superpowers. And I think that's damn impressive for, again, a character that nobody really knows about.
All right, it's Jessica.
Yeah, y'all leave me for last. How am I supposed to go after all of y'all? I call bullshit.
You go first next time.
I will say, like, being that I'll admit, like, I grew up very sheltered. I'm still, to a point, I'm still sheltered and everything. Like, to be honest, my high school, and actually all of my schools consisted of, like, 2 to 5 black people.
Connecticut, right?
Entirely, huh?
Connecticut,
yeah,
right?
Connecticut, right in the valley, but like not like the diverse valley, like the hidden valley.
Right.
The hidden valley.
The mountains where no one knows about you.
Right.
So, like, that being said, I didn't really, whenever any of my friends would be like, oh, but it's different if we're walking, if a group of us is walking with you and a cop sees us, that's different. And I'd be like, but I don't know why. Like, I don't see the issue. So, obviously knowing about all of that now, when I saw, like Wade was talking about the part of the episode where the cop was like, you have to get out of your car and everything, had him in cuffs and stuff, and the lady's like, no, that's not him. I was like, oh. And then he's like, all right, well, what did I do? Like, there's nothing of her description that matches me, not even my car. What was the point of this? And they're just like, yeah, bye. I was like, I would sue. That's me. But, like, it made me understand a little more, like, really the difference between everything. And then on top of that, like, I don't remember specifically what happened in either the first or second episode that I was like, I'm hyped. Like, I think I kept messaging Ian every time I got excited, and I was like, I'm so and just seeing how different everything was, seeing how, we're giving our overall impression, right?
Yeah.
Okay, had to make sure I wasn't going too far. So, like, just seeing how everything was, how it was so different from what I'm used to, how it was so, like, I don't know how to explain it.
Take your time, it's all right.
I just, like, really enjoyed how it's different, and it made me, like, see from a different point of view that obviously within my life I probably wouldn't see myself. I do see, through my friends or something, but, like, me personally, to see it through, like, a single person point of view. And it made me sit there. I kept bugging my boyfriend, who's also an admin, but he sucks and he's not active for shit. For that. But I kept bugging him, and I was like, you have to watch it, like, I know you would like this. And because anytime I have questions about anything that has to do with comic books or anything, I always ask him, and he has, like, this knowledge out of nowhere that I'm like, sure. I don't know where you came this from. Sure. And he kept saying, like, oh, yeah, I'll get to it. And I'm like, no, like, you need to watch it now. Like, I'm putting away all the shows that you told me to watch right now. I have to finish this one because, like, I'm really into it. Just everything that's going on, everything, like, the character development. And I can tell my coworker can attest. I kept, like, screaming at my tablet. I think I scared my clients at one point. It's fine.
Just stand up and go, no, I'm watching Black Lightning. They'll all go, oh, okay, I get it.
We understand.
All right, for me, but the general impression, like I said, I expected it to be something entirely different, and I think what I'm noticing the most thus far is the humanness of the characters, and especially of Jefferson Pierce, because he is not always right, and he doesn't always make the right decisions, and he gets his ass kicked. Um, like the time when his suit was malfunctioning, and everybody was telling him, "Don't go out, don't go out, don't go out. Wait, just wait." And he went out anyway, and it gets his ass laid out flat on the ground. So he's not one dimensional. It's not that fake. This person is good all the time, or this person is evil all the time, or this person always makes the right decisions. You know, he's a very real person who has a very multifaceted life and is doing the best he can to merge all those facets together and make them work together, but doesn't always make the right decision. So I think for me, that's and the in general terms, that's what stood out to me the most about the show thus far. Okay. All right, now we're moving into feelings.
Feelings.
Um,
Nothing more than
Insert Drake song here.
Oh man.
Feelings, emotions, cognitive reactions, relatability, etc. All those things. And we're gonna go in reverse order this time. So I'm gonna start, and then we're gonna go to Jessica and Wade, Justin, Ian, and Santino. So for me, it's two things that really evoke a lot of feeling. In fact, I was watching an episode today, and almost cried, and it was just a conversation. It was one of the flashbacks where Jefferson was having a conversation with his father, and it wasn't so much the.
That was the Black Panther. That was the Black Panther moment.
The Mufasa moment. Those Mufasa moments. Nobody's ready.
Right.
It wasn't so much the context of the conversation itself. It was the memories I have of having conversations like that with my father. Jefferson's father, and Jefferson himself reminds me a lot of my father. So seeing those two sit down and have that conversation, it made me feel the same feeling that I get when I sit and have a conversation with my dad. You know, when he has some type of knowledge to impart to me. I'm actually tearing up a little bit right now. Just talking
Aw,
about
Cameron.
like it evokes that much emotion. And it's not, and what he has to say to his son is real. Like he doesn't sugarcoat the world for his kid. You know, he lets him know how things really are, and really empowers him to make decisions to the best of his ability. And the fact that, you know, how Jefferson's dad does with him and how he does with his daughters, how he's rattling off these quotations from different figures, appeals to me as well, because I am an English teacher and it's extremely relatable. So that's one of the things that I find myself doing with my students, which brings me to the other thing that makes me feel a lot is the fact that Jefferson is a principal, that he works in a school. And that's also multifaceted for me because I've worked in schools for the past 13 years, but I also currently work in a school for boys that have already been arrested and sentenced, and they have to go through this program, and I'm supposed to teach them while they're locked up, essentially. So I've seen like both sides of that, and Jefferson is in this environment where he could easily pack up his family and move to a better place and just forget about it. You know, forget about the state of his community. He could, you know, pretend that it doesn't exist and just go somewhere else. And for me, it's powerful because I'm now seeing what happens to these kids who grow up in these environments and don't have a father like Jefferson. You know, don't have somebody watching out for him. The kids who get just lost in the system. So I can relate to him on that level and thinking about how to improve a community when it seems like everyone outside of it has forgotten about you, and how sometimes even the people within the community have forgotten about themselves and don't care anymore. There's a sense of dejection and hopelessness, and you know, this is just the way things are. How to get past that? You know, like I face that pretty much every day at my job. You know, what do you do with these kids who think that this is just their life? This sense of fatalism. So seeing him try to combat that and seeing him with the ability to leave, but deciding to stay and face it and try to make his world better is extremely, extremely powerful for me. All right, Miss Jessica.
Still unprepared. Okay, so.
Welcome to podcasting.
Yeah. Very true words, cool.
I mean, I did have, like, I feel like for me, I had a lot of emotion where, you know, they kind of purposely put, I'm sorry, I heard my coworker, where they kind of purposely put, you know, emotion evoking things like, when they were upset in the, what was it, the last episode or the second to last episode when, he was when Black Lightning was basically in a coma and they were like, oh, we have to like bring him back. And I was like, no, you cannot die. No, lies.
Yeah.
And like everything, like the fighting scenes and stuff, like I would be shouting at everything. I'm very verbal. And a lot of it also, like Taryn was saying, you know, to show like, he was trying to be the light for these kids who otherwise would be falling into like the little kid who was like, but I have to sell this, I have to do what he says, otherwise me and my grandma don't have anywhere to live. And of course, coming from me, I was like, oh, but he's so young. And I was like, but go to school. Like, I don't, what? And so like seeing everything that it was emotional in like an eye-opening way, I guess. And it definitely with the with all of the excitement and the sadness and the like discovery made me feel like, okay, but where's the second season? Because I need it now.
Still in production. They're working on it.
All right, wait.
All right, so since we're not going to really get into spoilers, but I will say this, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it. The auditorium scene, this too, and I'll elaborate on the second one, but the auditorium scene at the end of this episode hit me hard because it was like Jefferson getting something back that he had been giving the students.
Yeah, bro.
And I'll leave it at that.
You talking about last episode, right? At the end of last episode?
Yeah, man.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, do tears. Only tears, yo.
I don't want to spoil it, but because it's so fresh. If we talk about it again, I'll bring it up and I'll get in depth about it. But there's actually a couple other things. One, the family aspect, and I probably said it already, but the family aspect of that show is so damn cool. I have a very different family dynamic as I got older. And so when you have a certain family dynamic, you end up looking for the things you missed in certain years of your life. And I like looking at the fact that you see a family that was separated but whole. Jefferson and his, I believe, ex-wife still had a relationship because they wanted to make sure their kids were raised right. They still had family dinners to make sure that they were still connecting as a family, and I thought that was absolutely beautiful. And that was one of the things that I love about this show. On the darker side of it, I understand what it's like to be this guy who's one, not considered black enough because you speak in proper sentences. Two, being big, and they automatically assume you're angry and dangerous. But also having the power to do something, but knowing that it won't be looked fondly, even if you're just defending yourself. So I look at Jefferson, who literally has this physical power to fight back, and he could be a tyrant, he could be an oppressor, but instead he uses his mind more than he does anything else. And you can look, and maybe it's accidental, but you can look at the way Jefferson uses his powers. He doesn't like using them. Like, you know what I mean? He'd rather punch someone than electrocute him. When it looks like he's not a killer, like, you know what I mean? And even the people who, I think he killed the guy, kidnapped his daughter. I can't remember. But even then, like, the amount of restraint he showed for someone who kidnapped the people he loved is more than a lot of people could show. So for me, the feeling I get when I watch this show is understanding. Like I feel like I understand Jefferson. You know what I mean? I understand what he wants to do for these kids, and like that's his whole life. Like you know what I mean? Like that's what he wants to do. He wants to make sure that he's left this world better than he came. And as you can see in the final episode of the final moments of the last episode, you can see just from that moment, he's definitely accomplishing that goal.
All right, Justin.
Yeah, there's a lot of heavy issues that they deal with on this show, and it's funny because, like Jessica, it's harder to relate to a lot of things. And to kind of go into my answer, I'm going to take you guys back to the '90s. I'm going to take you back to a show you may remember about a certain Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Right? So, and I want to give you some perspective on this, right? So, there is an episode where Carlton and Will are driving a car, right? And they're going to drive a car to Palm Springs, and then they're going to drive it back to Beverly Hills. And in this episode, they get pulled over by the police, and Will is making kind of a big joke about this because he knows what to do. He assumes the position, and Carlton's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You should have had a map." And they get arrested. So, as someone who had no idea what was happening, that's kind of an eye-opening thing. I'm like, why are they getting in trouble? That doesn't make any sense. You know, and I just want to give you guys that perspective of this is how I'm coming into the show. I don't know about issues like this. I can't even imagine what it's like to be in a school where Jefferson is, where kids are getting shot and they're getting killed, and they have to deal with that shit. And you have to worry about your kids outside playing next to the person who's selling mutant growth hormone or whatever, you know, and a 12-year-old riding a bike around who's on the take, you know, watching out for cops so you can do drug. I'm like, holy shit, there's some real stuff out there that I have no friggin' perspective on. So watching this
stuff I had to deal with, in my hood, that was a regular thing. Like,
I don't know that. I mean, and it's funny too because there's things, and Mark briefly touched on this. I didn't even know what colorism was. You know, I had to look it up. You know, and I listened to Mark's show, the Old Man Wade show, and it comes up a lot. And it's one of those things where it's like, I had no idea that this was something that was so prevalent in the black community. I had no idea. And this show goes into that. The main character is the exact, or the main bad guy is the exact opposite of Black Lightning. Yet he's the reverse, but he's like a mirror of him. Whale. He's everything that he wants to be, and everything that Black Lightning doesn't want to be. So he's such a great foil for this. And I mean, that's kind of my take on this. It's like it's set up where there's these dynamics that are very difficult for someone like myself to understand, but the relatability is still there.
Mm-hmm.
If I can just interject, that episode of The Fresh Prince was one of the reasons why the show succeeded, and I think it's one of the reasons why Black Lightning succeeded, because they don't shy away from these moments. I remember the end of the episode where Carlton was talking to his father, and he said something, and his uncle and his father goes, "I remember asking that same question the first time it happened to me." Yep. And then like Carlton kind of sat there confused because he didn't get it. Yep. But it was a heavy episode, and I think that I think Black Lightning pulls from a lot of moments from shows that we saw in the '90s. But they also pull a lot of actors from the '90s. We've already seen Robert Townsend. We've seen Jefferson Pierce. I forget the actor's real name, but he was a recurring character in Living Single. They'll be bringing in Pam from Living Single as the season goes on.
Cresswood name, by the way. Cress. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. And then there's dude, I can't remember his other name, from Medicine Society, the Buster Brothers video. So they're bringing in these actors who know about the culture, who know about the community, and they have opinions on these things. And I think these voices help bring a feel of the '90s that makes a lot of people around our age want to watch the episode because they can understand that these are things that happen now and still give us and it's not, like I said before, it's not over the top, and I think that you bring up a good point with that episode because it still kind of relates to stuff that goes on in the show now.
Yes. Ow. I don't know how to reiterate the fact that this show is very emotion evoking for me in general. Yes, it has a lot of relatable issues for me as a black man, but the thing I love about this show and the reason why I asked Jessica to watch it, the reason why I asked Taryn to watch it, is because I know that these are two very different people, and it was a kind of a little bit of an experiment. But the reason why I asked you, the both of you, to watch this show is because I wanted to understand, or I wanted to know, if Black Lightning the show had succeeded in what I thought it did, and being able to make very personalized social issues relatable to anyone. Anyone can watch this show. Justin Cooper just said this, and I hate the and it's good that you brought that up, Justin, because it's just honest for you to say, look, I don't know nothing about this stuff. Like, I don't know half of what this stuff you guys are talking about. It's just something that's completely alien to me. It's not going on where I am, and it's not going on around anyone I know. So it's hard for me to understand these things that you're talking about. A lot of people of different cultures use that as an excuse. Okay, well, this isn't happening where I am, so this isn't as important as Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. This isn't as important as Kanye West being in the White House. These are things that are important to me because these are the things that I can relate to. These are things that are.
Ian, I have a question. I understood everything you said, but what's Kanye West?
Yeah, Kanye. Oh, well, he used to be a hip hop artist. Now he's a couple of words I can't use on air. It's Eric Barber giving me a gag order. But the thing that Danye, the thing that really got me with that and it's the relatability of this show is you would think because they're taking social issues that do mostly relate to black people, but the way that they're showing you these issues, the way they're bringing them to you, anyone can watch this show and relate to these things because of the acting, because of the way that they seamlessly put these things together. You don't have to be around these different stimuli to understand there's a problem. You don't have to be around these different occurrences to understand that how detrimental these things are and how they're affecting the world around you. You don't have to be, and that's the beauty of this show. I think that is the main thing I've fallen in love with this show, is that anyone can watch this show and immediately be emotionally moved. You don't have to be from the hood. You don't have to know anything about. You could be, like Jessica said, you could be very sheltered from the middle of the valley and watch 2 episodes of this show and be screaming at the TV and upset and emotionally moved by just what you're seeing. It doesn't matter that it's about black people, or it's about Spanish people, or if it's about white. The fact that these things are being portrayed in such a way that it leaves you no choice. This show literally grabs you by your collar and gives you absolutely no choice. You're going to look at these issues. You're going to look at these things that's happening. You're going to look at what's going on in the world. And at the end of the show, you're going to be great about it. And that's what this show does. And I love that dynamic more so than I love anything else about it, because it did it to me. And I'm somebody who's very well versed in a lot of these things, who've seen these things, who experienced some of them firsthand. And still, it's like I feel like Jessica. I feel like I've never been in these areas. Like, I don't know these people. Like, I don't know. But at the same time, it's like they're showing me through this window of what is going on. And it's beautiful. And moving is the only word I could think of to really relate to what I'm feeling on the inside when I'm talking about this. But that's what it is. It moved me. It moved me to make other people watch it. It moved me to be more social. It moved me to be more understanding of the things that are going on around me. And for a TV show about a superhero, okay, everybody knows this is Amalga-Mania. This is what we do here. Superheroes, nerd stuff, this is what we do. But when you take this kind of side of it, this relatability to these issues and to this social goings on, and you seamlessly put those things together, it gives me such joy, because now I know. It's different when you didn't see the progress. Like we brought up about Carlton having that talk with Uncle Phil at the end of the show, and he was like, "Oh, I remember the first time this happened to me. I got hope. I got hope that I'm not gonna have that conversation with my son. I got hope that TV shows like this and different projects like this are going to eradicate that at some point. That maybe there won't be a need for this for his generation to come after him when his children are born. Maybe this won't be a thing. Maybe with the exposure of these different issues and these different types of shows like this, maybe those things will start to be eradicated. And this show, more than anything, if it's giving me anything outside of ridiculous entertainment every time I see it, turn it on and watch it, it's giving me hope. It has given me hope for a lot of different things. And that's, I know it sounds real comic book to say that because we all know how, the hero comes in at the end and it gives us all hope for the next day. But no, I really do. I really feel like this is a step in a direction that's never really been taken before. Arrow, Daredevil. I mean, they touch on things. They do. They skim over the top. They touch on things. But like I said, this show is not skimming over, touching them. It's grabbing you by your collar like, look at this. And watch this and see what's going on. You don't have to be black to understand this. You don't have to be black to feel this. This could be your sister. This could be your brother. This could be your roommate. And I love that diversity and that agility of this show. Because it's Freeland, but it's not as gritty as New York City or Baltimore. You watch The Wire and then you watch Black Lightning. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't. You can't really relate to The Wire, because it's like, okay, dope fiends in the alley and the do-rags and the different stuff, and it's like you can't really relate to that show because it's like
not everybody can.
No, not everybody can get with that. You can watch Black Lightning. I don't care where you're from. You can watch Black Lightning and be like, yo, wow, that really just
That's
happened.
Alan Moore's favorite TV show, by the way, The Wire.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so Alan Moore, the famed writer of The Watchmen, said The Wire was the most realistic and gritty show that he had ever seen.
Well, it's based off of a true
that stuff actually happened. Yep.
Like, bro, we ain't far from Baltimore. Like, that shit is real.
Yeah, that shit is real for real.
That shit is real.
And I was talking about my students, and 95% of them are from Baltimore. So the kids that you saw on that show, those are the kids that I teach.
Your kids watch the show, Taryn?
No, they're from Baltimore. They
are the show.
No,
they are The Wire.
I will say this: they did talk about it recently and said that because when people find out that they are from Baltimore, they expect them to act like the people on the show.
John Waters.
Yeah, and it's really odd because for one thing on the show they didn't have that Baltimore accent. Like Baltimore's an extremely
they have a crazy
very
accent.
distinct,
Crazy
very
accent.
distinct.
And I didn't even realize that until I started teaching these kids.
I know you're from Baltimore from like 3 seconds of you talking.
Yeah. And another thing is it's worse. Like the kids that I have, the things that they're in for, it's a lot worse than what was portrayed on The Wire in terms of like the season where they did the school system and all that, and you had Mike and his friends. It's a lot worse what happens with the children in Baltimore than was shown. As scary as that might sound, it's a lot worse in reality than what you saw on The Wire.
You know what's funny is I had and you're from Baltimore, so you don't understand this. I had an ex-girlfriend who went to school at Coppin State, and they tell them during orientations there are certain turns that they shouldn't take to leave the campus. So and I understood that from Boston. Like you can go to Northeastern. Northeastern's like a prominent one of the best schools in the country or whatever. But you take a left in one direction, you're fine. You take a right in the other direction, you're kind of fucked. I wanted to say something because this is Amalga-Mania and all that, but people forget that comic books the comic books tend to have deeper meanings in the things that people don't realize. Perfect example is an issue on Punisher Max, and it's a series called The Slavers. And they're talking about the trafficking of women as prostitutes. And the Punisher said he had never been this angry before. And while he stopped it at the end of the book, there was a monologue about how angry he was and how he saved some of them. But he was like, if X amount of people survived, some of the women survived, X amount of people committed suicide, some ended up on drugs, and some ended up living these great lives, and that's the reality, unfortunately, of people who are in these things. And then obviously the Magneto and Xavier comparison, but people forget that there's always been a message in a lot of comic books. It's not all just funny cartoons and jokes and punches, you know what I mean? And Black Lightning is a prime example of that.
Okay. Santino,
Yes.
emotional response to the show. Did you
Emotional
feel something or think the most?
Oh man, I got all types of feelings. Number one, almost anytime I hear the mantra, you know what I mean,
Last night I
like
told
you
the
know what I mean.
superhero.
No, the mantra.
Oh, whose life is this?
Yeah, where's the future? Right
Yeah.
here, and whose life is this? Right, how you gonna live it? You know what I mean? By any means necessary. Like anytime I hear that joint, I always get the feels off of that. I'm weird too. There's like certain moments that I feel that people don't necessarily get. Like, all right, for me, one moment that really got me, was the first time Jefferson and Anissa came toe to toe because they didn't know. You know what I mean? Remember when Anissa went to Mom Duke's office
to talk to her
about yeah, and then they got into it, and then like they were going at it, and then whenever Jefferson like knocked her out, he realized like, yo, I'm beating up my baby right now, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then he held it close and everything like that. Like that was just a crazy moment for me. I was like, yo, that's a deep moment right there. You know what I mean? Like I can understand like his emotional level at that point, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I just fucked up my baby right there, you know what I mean? Like, cause he held it close, like you could tell in his face,
That's
like,
his
yo,
first moment,
you know
too.
what I'm saying? Like, all right, so that's one thing that that definitely got me. Another thing that gets me in my feelings is my love. I have a love for Nafisa Williams. Cause when she was exercising in that little when she was exercising in that little black and red outfit. I'm sorry, I sound like a dog right now, but oh my god, you know what I mean? She got cakes and pies for days.
Listen,
cakes and pies for days.
I gotta interject. I must interject some here. Me and Sonny, when we were watching this show, like I said, it would take us 3 hours to watch one episode. And I'm sorry, I have to agree with you. Those girl on girl, because Nefessa is gay.
Yeah.
Nissa is gay.
Yeah.
And those girl on girl scenes in Black Lightning is 60% of the reason I stayed tuned in. Now, I'm not saying I'm not a culturally aware man.
Yeah, of course.
Because I am. But them skin tight leggings, though.
Yeah, the skin tight leggings. They know what they doing. They know.
Mr. Williams, if you're listening.
Call me. Call me.
Oh my god.
What other feelings that I get? Well, of course, Wade mentioned that moment in the last episode that really just got me. I just like the overall positivity of it all. No disrespect to Luke Cage, but Black Lightning is everything I wanted Luke Cage to be.
Thank you.
Reach.
I'm glad somebody said that. I'm glad somebody said that.
I like it.
Same.
No, and don't get me wrong when I say that. I love Luke Cage. I love season 1 and 2. Yeah. By the way, season 2 was fucking dope as shit.
Yeah, it was really dope.
I remember when Luke Cage first came out. It was too black for white people, and it wasn't black enough for black people. You know what I mean? That was like the gripes that was going on between, you know what I mean, white folks and black folks. And I think this show does a great job of doing everything that the viewers want to see.
Honestly, I'm agree, and then I'm gonna disagree with you. I think you're right, but I think that Black Lightning doesn't push those. It doesn't. It doesn't push those things.
It's not in your face.
Thank you.
It's not in your face.
Luke Cage did everything, and Michael Coulter. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Luke Cage not only as a character. I love the character Luke Cage, and I've been a fan of the character for a very long time, back Power Man days. But Michael Coulter as an actor, I think, tries so hard to be Harlem, and in fact isn't.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across as a bad taste in most people's mouths, especially people who are from these areas and know these areas and know these people. There you go, Coop. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Hey.
And so you know, for the people who are really from these areas and know these different people who know how these people act, again, Michael Coulter, he's a little bit different. Now, Cress Williams, there are relatable black people in the black community like Cress Williams. Mm-hmm. I know Cress Williams, maybe not Cress Williams, but Dr. Jefferson Pierce in the show.
Yeah.
I know this man. He was a mentor in school. He might have been a guy at the YMCA after that would play, that would give the basketballs out or something. And this guy was the off-duty cop doing club security. This man was he's there. You know, he's a very essential part of what we know, and they don't push that off of your face, and they do it very effortlessly. The show is very culturally grounded without saying this is about black people and this show is about. You don't know that going in. I mean, yeah, they show you different things that make it undeniable that this show is obviously touching on these different, but it's hard for you. It's hard for them to they're not giving it to you too hard, and that's what makes this show so honestly relatable. Is that you can't help but to love it, and at the same time, it's not being shoved down your throat. So I gotta agree and disagree. You're right. It is very laid back in that sense where they're not pushing this whole, the black exploitation card on you and using the black card on you every 5 seconds, but it's there. It's there, and you can't help but to say the same thing with Kaepernick. Kaepernick's whole movement with taking a knee. Everything that movement says, everything that it does, everything that it's about is the essence of this show. It's a protest. It's a way of saying things without trying to draw attention to yourself. Now, obviously, with Kaepernick, that got blown out of proportion. They turned that into a whole dog and pony show, and that's understandable. Do that. That's great. But you can't do that with this. You can't do that with this. You can't take this show and say, oh, well, they're being too black and too militant and because you can't. It's so light and it's so, they're not force feeding it to you. You can't do nothing but watch it. And either.
They'll try, though.
Oh, they're going to eventually, but I'd love to see them. I'd love to see that happen because it's just effortless. They can't do it.
Another two things that I wanted to point out before I get done with my little spiel.
Yeah.
Two particular scenes that stick out to me. The one episode where they planted the green light on Jefferson Pierce and they took him
coming out of school,
and they coming out of school. And like all the kids are like, yo, you ain't about to take them.
Yeah, and they
stood up for him. And they stood
that
up for him.
moment.
And what's that?
Still gets you.
Yeah, it still gets me too. Yeah, that was real.
And he was like, and Jefferson was like, pretty much told him like, yo, just like fall back, yo, you know what I mean? Hold down for it. Y'all continue to do y'all thing. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Fucking like I love that about that. You know what I mean? And he didn't get no lip. You know what I mean? He didn't get no lip. Dude was just like, yes sir. You know what I mean? Like I got you. Another thing that also that I loved about it that also stuck out for me was the one episode after both his daughters had got kidnapped and his youngest daughter what's her name again? Jennifer. When Jennifer is hanging out with Keisha and they're drinking that bottle of champagne or whatever and they getting lit, you know what I mean? And then she goes around Khalil and she's like YOLO or whatever, and Khalil's like, what? Like YOLO, like nah, yo, like this ain't how it's supposed to be. Like I live this shit. I know you've been coddled all your life and you ain't used to this shit, but things is gonna be alright. Like I've been through worse. Like you know what I mean? Like I just love that positivity that they show in that type of shit. You know what I mean? Because like there's a lot of kids out there right now that are like that are just like YOLO. Like I'm gonna take this Xan. I'm gonna take this. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pop this whatever. You know what I mean? I'm gonna snort this whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I just like when they exercise that in shows showing younger crowds that that shit ain't the way. You know what I mean? But yeah,
He was a good character too, I think, to start off Khalil.
Yo, Khalil was dope.
Man.
Khalil was dope. Painkiller was
I can't
dope.
wait to see what they do. And I really and Jessica touched on this earlier. With character development. I'm like watching how these characters are developing, and Khalil, I definitely want to see where they go with him. Good catch, Scoop.
Let's hear it for Peter. Let's hear it for Uncle Peter. Yeah, you're right. James Remart, right?
I would say, especially after everything that Tobias did to Khalil during that last episode, and he was just like checking him.
Yeah, bro.
like old school checking. Like it was like got in his face and was like slapping the poop out of him. It's a bit of an old school thing when you have a vet or an OG, for the lack of that's a great term. You have an OG who's trying to teach you something. You got these young kids who just don't get it. And he's just like, if you want, like he wanted to be in his life, like you know what I mean. And he's just like, this is what you wanted. And he goes, you're just not getting it. and now I lost something, so now you got to understand what I'm going through, so you don't have to go to it. And then what did Khalil do? Exactly what Tobias told him not to do. What happened? He got his feelings hurt. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna get more hardcore. Had he just listened, it's a whole thing.
Well, think about Lala too, right?
Yeah.
Lala's a dangerous guy, and he killed someone. He's the one who has to deal with the consequences because she shows up on his freaking body. He sees her in the shower, and as bad as Lala is, I mean, Whale is 10 times as bad.
I actually want
He's freaking frightening.
I actually want to ask you something, Coop. Do you think Lala's gonna end up being the tattoo man?
He is the tattoo man. Cause
They named him that, yeah.
Remember Tobias called him the tattoo man in the one episode?
Okay. I'm talking about, you know which tattoo man I'm talking about? During Final Crisis?
Yeah.
Michael Dwayne, I forget his name, whatever his name is, but he's like a black guy and he had the tattoos that come to life on him and stuff, and they come to life every time he gets
Oh.
Not the guy from the Electra movie.
No,
With-
I'm talking about from the DC books. If you guys don't know who he is,
Yeah.
check him out. He was in the, I believe during like the Dark Side War, and during all that time, Forever
He was.
Evil.
He was actually a
around
big
during
part
time.
of that.
He was a pivotal character during that time. Check him out. His name's Tattoo Man. That's who Lala is.
He might eventually come to that point because I mean.
Oh, he is. He's gonna
'cause
start getting the tattoos.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really even know about.
Yeah,
the
he doesn't
extent
know
of
he's
his
a meta.
abilities.
Yeah, he doesn't even know he's a
the
meta
extent of his
yet, yeah.
abilities yet. So he might very well come to that. You know what I mean?
That's very
Well,
interesting.
I mean, that's the thing, too. They have stolen powers because Whale isn't a metahuman. He uses a serum to make him de-age and to make him super powerful.
So they made it. So they
Same thing
retconned
with
it in the
Tattoo
show
Man.
where Tobias Whale isn't a meta.
Yeah, in the show he's not because he's shooting himself. If you look at the very end of episode 13, he's shooting himself in the neck with like this yellow sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I thought it was Venom. I didn't know.
That's what I thought. I thought it was an additive to make his already metahuman power. I thought he was already a metahuman, and then those boosted his powers up so he can go toe to toe with Black Lightning again.
And I don't know where they got this actor because I looked him up and he's only been in like 2 things. But man, this is the best casting I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no, they nailed all the parts first time out, no problem. It was great, easily the best casting.
I will see that, and I will raise you a Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
That's a low blow, bro. That's a low blow because you can't really
Are you
even.
taking him as Wilson Fisk?
Huh?
Are you taking him as Wilson Fisk?
Absolutely.
Oh, there's no choice. There's no choice. Vincent D'Onofrio is Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, no, I'm saying in this one, do you think he's playing the character of Wilson Fisk?
Oh, absolutely.
He's playing a black version.
He played the black version
Of Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
Well, Tobias
Michael
Whale.
Clark Duncan, excuse me.
If you guys look at the lore, Tobias Whale essentially is Kingpin in the DC universe.
Yep.
Like literally down to the fact that he's fat, wears a suit, and is white. Like white. Not like white people white. Like
Just white.
Oh, I know.
white. Yeah, like he's chalk white in the comics. But he's also the Kingpin. He's like the overall crime lord of whatever city he happens to be in at the moment. So that's a very interesting comparison between D'Onofrio and Crondon. And honestly, I
And
want to
if
touch
you
on
think
that.
the metaphor, he's the white whale that they can't
That
catch.
you can't catch. Absolutely. And I just wanted to kind of touch on that as well, Coop. That's actually another really good point. Is that the comparisons with these characters and the way that they're utilizing them in the show. I love the fact that Crondon is like, I've never seen him in a TV show before. I've never seen him in anything other than his music. And it's just amazing that he's like this good. Like, I love watching this guy. Like, and he's not like a Denzel Washington or Cress Williams or whatever. He's just some dude who showed up and is killing it as Tobias Whale.
He
And,
talks like Ice-T. I'm just putting that out there.
oh, he's from Cali.
Oh yeah, he's from Cali.
Yeah, he's very
I'm pretty sure. If my memory serves me correctly, he's. I think he's. His cousin is Exhibit.
Yep, I believe that's true as well.
My different ride. Wow.
But I think that we've covered this show pretty well. I just wanted to kind of give everybody a chance to kind of sound off. Now that we're done with the actual topics of the show, I kind of wanted to give everybody a chance to sound off and kind of give your highlights not only of the show, but kind of what you would say to the people who, like Jessica High came to you. What would you say to someone This is your chance. You're talking to 1,500 people right now. What do you have to say to them about this show? Everybody go around. From Jessica, let's go around.
All right. Honestly, I tell you, like, if you love action, this is it. If you're the type of person who is sensitive to a lot of what's been going on in the news, you don't want to hear about it, you don't, like, if it's not happening around you, it ain't happening type of thing, you're probably going to get mad if you watch it or something, but you got to go into this with an open mind. You can't sit there and let politics run into your head or something, because, like, then it's just like everything else going in the world. If you let, outside thoughts come into it, you got to look at it with, like, all right, this is a show, I'm going to look at it with an open mind, and, like, you're going to love it. You're going to get so caught up in it. At the same time, like, it's kind of like the kid in you, the kid who just thinks, like, the world is a great place and nothing bad happens, and then you're like, wait, why is this bad thing happening? That's not right. Cops aren't supposed to do that. No. There's something else I was gonna say. Oh, as a child of divorced parents, Wade brought this up earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt him, but the family aspect that they had, like, I appreciated that so much, because my family was completely opposite. We kind of literally just split apart entirely, and we were supposed to just deal with it on our own. And the fact that he was like, okay, we are broken up, but, like, we're still going to raise our daughters together. We're still going to be a unit. We're still going to have, these dinners and everything. Like, that's something I wanted from my family, so that's something I could connect to. And the fact that, I mean, granted, I'm going to be 23, but I connected between both sisters, because I was, like, my sisters are, like, the oldest sister's ages, and I'm closer to, like, the little one, so I was, with both of them, I could see everything from the teenage perspective, but I could also see it from the adult perspective. And it's really interesting. If you want to watch it, or if you want to see what it's about, just go into it with an open mind. Don't have any, like, preset things in your head, and I guarantee you'll probably love it.
Well said. Mr. Wade, old man.
First off, you can always catch my reviews on Dance Black Pile of Black Lightning that night. But in all seriousness, I suggest people just watch the show and accept it for what it is. I've seen a lot of criticism about, the acting's not that good, and it's like, look, enjoy it. Just watch it. Like, if the acting's not good, who cares? The subject matter is great, and I actually think the acting's good. I don't think it's not Othello, like, you know what I mean. But the subject matter is so intense that it makes it like you can understand where they're coming from. Like, and we didn't even talk about Gandhi, and he's phenomenal in this. Like, you know what I mean. It also brings up the topic. Yeah, excuse me, thank you. And it was like watching him, an old white guy, who actually helped save Black Lightning, and who is a big part of their family. Like, that's another important part of this. So it's not like they're segregating anybody else. They're a family. So it's, watch the show and enjoy it. Just sit back, don't criticize it. Just watch it and enjoy it for what it is. If you like action, you're gonna get action. If you like drama, you get drama. If you like hearing about things that are prevalent in the community or things you don't know about, watch the show. Just kick your feet up. It's on Netflix. 13 episodes. And another thing I love about the show is they're only doing short episodes. So each season's only going to be 12 to 13 episodes. You get in, you get out. It's perfect.
Yeah, it really is. Mr. Cooper. Not the one you hang with. All right, Mr. Cooper.
Another show that I watched in the 90s, but that would be a complete opposite of what we've been talking about today.
Yeah, that's cool. Mr. Cooper was the
Roger and all that crap. But I mean, just to say about the show, it's something that you should be watching because it's good. It's something that's fun. There's action. I mean, it's poignant. It makes you think. It makes you feel. And if you think about things that have been really important in your life, chances are they've made you feel something. You know, and that's kind of it. It's evocative. And that's what I really enjoyed about this. And of course, it's like the coolest thing ever is that I'm playing Injustice 2, and this comes out, and they're like, oh, you get the Black Lightning skin and all that. So it's like, all right, well, I can play as Raiden. And, dude, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, James Remar in this as Pete, Uncle Pete played Raiden, and then you got Black Lightning. I'm like, this is really cool. There's all kinds of parallels into, like, the geek world and all that. I recommend this show to anybody that wants to see something good. And I'm on the record for liking a lot of stuff that's probably not good, but it's fun, and I think that you can find the good and fun in anything. And my advice, if you don't think this show is for you, give 2 episodes a try, because you're going to be pissed. You're going to be really pissed that you missed out, and you're going to be really pissed at what's going on. So.
Yeah, definitely. Just like, if you're gonna watch this, don't just do the 1 episode and be done with it. Like, don't do that. Do at least the 2nd episode, and all the way to the end of the 2nd episode. I don't want to hear I got 5 minutes in and turn it. No. End of the 2nd episode, and then if you still hate it, that's fine. Whatever.
I have a 6-episode rule. Like, I just have a like
on any show. Yeah, I agree.
I feel like
thing. I can't do that.
That's an anime rule.
So
yeah, that's why you got me on my hero.
That's how I developed that rule was through anime. So like from here on out, like I give anything about 6 episodes, and if you can't catch me, I jump ship. I might come back to it later because there's a couple like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I had to come back to, and Gotham I had to come back to, because at first the impressions just wasn't there for me. But everybody was just like, you know, everybody that aren't comic book heads were like, yo, you gotta check the show out, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it another shot, whatever. But
I'm still waiting for my time back on Walking Dead. I want my 7 hours of my life back from that show.
Oh man.
You guys remember Heroes? How they tried to do like a 2nd season of that?
Never happened. Move on.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yes, it was.
Heroes
Never happened. Move on.
It really was.
We were talking about protagonists. I'm going to keep going. We were talking about protagonists, and we were talking about how Black Lightning is really one of the first shows that's had like kind of a black protagonist.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember the first season of Heroes, they had the father, and they had Ali Lauder, and the young kid, and all that, and the dad was kind of in that and all that. So it's like, that's one that I feel kind of got overlooked. And maybe that's something that kind of led people to like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe that could be more successful.
Yeah. That is a good point.
Okay. Where we at?
Watch out for that Linderman.
Watch out for Linderman. Yeah, Linderman. Yeah, everybody be on the lookout for Linderman. He's a horrible guy.
Horrible guy. All right.
My name is Skyler.
Yeah, he's Skyler. He got really upset about that shit. He was like, well, the Jamaican dude on Luke Cage too. When he said his name wrong, when he said no, Stokes.
My name is Stokes.
Go ahead, Madam President. It's on you.
Oh, I didn't even.
You didn't go?
No.
Oh, you didn't. Forget about Santino. Go ahead, Madam President. He'll be here
I
on.
Santino already went. Maybe I thought someone else was talking as you.
No, he was piggyback
What the
on
hell is in
something
this
else.
wine?
But I did skip over him right quick. Go ahead, Mr.
No.
We go
All right,
next.
I would say, no matter who you are, where you come from, if you have never had the feeling that there is nobody else who can relate to what it is you go through, or who can relate to you, you should watch this show, because you will find that character or that situation or that experience that does speak to you, that you thought was totally unique to you, or that you thought nobody else could understand. You'll see it portrayed in some manner on this show, which is one of the most magical things about it, that it can reach such an incredibly wide, diverse audience, regardless of class or race or social status.
Not to cut you off,
etc.
Madam President, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. This show is an official representation of what we do here at Amalga-Mania. This show really does, and she just hit it at home. I think that's really kind of what we do here, is we culminate a lot of different things and bring it together to make it relatable. And she's right. This show does that for you. So I just wanted to stamp it as an official. I mean, we ain't getting no money off of it, but we will. We will.
Can I jump in for 1 second? One thing that I mean, Justin started to touch on it with the intro song, but the soundtrack for the whole soundtrack for the show is crazy.
Oh
Like
my
they
God,
got
the music.
Yeah, the music is crazy.
It
They
definitely
had,
rivals anything that Luke Cage and Daredevil and them has been doing.
I mean, I don't know about
Yeah,
all that.
It does.
I agree with Ian, man,
It
because
really
like
does,
every
because
song
it's
that
not
they
just
pick,
hip-hop.
No, it's not just
yeah,
It goes back to
Yeah.
70s shit, rock
Oh,
stuff, poppy stuff. Like they go all over the place. Where Luke Cage and them, they mostly center around hip hop or R&B.
I heard Santino was going to rap a little bit of it.
He
Oh
is.
no.
He is. He
No.
got the bars. He got bars.
I haven't picked the pen up in a long time, man.
We gonna get him next show. He gonna do bars.
I might do a beat or something like that. Maybe a beat or something, you know. But not no writing.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Madam Taryn. We
It's
were
okay.
absolutely horrible to you.
The other thing I wanted to say is if you enjoy this show, like if you already watched the show, you enjoy the experience of looking into a different world and stuff that you might not be as familiar with. There is a book called The Hate You Give that was just released as a movie recently. I haven't seen the movie, but the book was absolutely phenomenal. And it's the one book that my students read and like they wanted to read this book. Everything else was like pulling teeth, but they wanted to read this book. And not to give too much of a spoiler because it happens in the first 15 pages, but the book centers around a young girl named Star, whose best friend she's black, so is her friend, and he's killed by the police within like the first 15 pages of the book. And she was there when it happened, but she lives in this extremely urban environment, a lot of crime, etc. But her parents have sent her off to prep school where the majority is white, so she feels like she's stuck in between these two worlds, and at first doesn't want anybody to know that she witnessed the crime, and she's just really at a loss for what to do. And you see what happens to her community. So you see this issue of this young boy being killed by the police from the perspective of Star and her community, and then from her friend's perspective at this prep school, and then her uncle is a police officer too, and he's Hispanic. So
Wow.
it reminds me of Black Lightning in that it touches on so many different perspectives at once. So if you like the feeling, the experience of watching Black Lightning, you will probably really, really enjoy The Hate You Give. But yeah, and it's a book and a movie. I haven't seen the movie, but the book is absolutely amazing. So just a recommendation. Based on
Sorry to like jump in really quick. What's funny is that when I was explaining the TV show, because of course when I get excited about things, like everyone must know.
I dig it.
I'm like, you guys don't understand, you have to know.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my coworker that Ian has met. I was talking to her about it. She's from Barbados, so I was like, I think that you're gonna really like this because her and I talk about a lot about, she grew up in a different environment that I did, so we discuss a lot. We discuss about, she doesn't watch many superhero stuff, but she still says like, there's still, I wish there was, I was telling her, sorry, jumping everywhere. I was telling her like you would really love it because I feel like you could connect to the sisters and everything. I feel like you would just really enjoy the fact that like they're finally giving you the empowerment that you've been looking for. And as I'm explaining the first couple of episodes to her, one of our other coworkers comes in and he's about like 56, 58, somewhere around my father's age. And he grew up again like sheltered white community and everything, and he was like, and he said he was like, oh, are you talking about that new movie I think I saw a trailer for? And it's The Hate You Give, and we're talking about that, and like right there was when I was like, wow, these are really similar. It's just one of them is more obviously a real life situation, and the other one is real life with superheroes. But I thought it was pretty interesting how, like, just from the beginning of the series, that he was like, "Oh no, I swear it's that movie," and I was like, "Well, close."
Yeah, like I read this book is about this thick, no 100 pages, and I read it I think in 2 days. Like I'm sitting in my classroom, and I can't put this book down. It's a young adult book, so it's not like a really heavy piece of reading in terms of like the words and all that. The meaning is pretty implicit, but it's a really, really good story. So if you enjoy Black Lightning, you'll probably really enjoy this book or the movie, which I am planning to see at some point. But it's a great story. So that's my piece on why you should watch Black Lightning and what else you can enjoy if you do like Black Lightning already.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Santino
And I
actually
mean,
has to.
some other ones too, like Luke Cage, that show. Anything else that you can? We mentioned The Wire. Anything else that you think that would be a good sort of contemporary?
Not offhand. I'd have to think about it some more. That's the one that stood out the most, probably because I read it most recently.
I would say listen to the Old Man Wade show. He's always got some good stuff going on.
Okay.
Put that plug in right there.
You can find the Old Man Wade show on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Podbean.
Streaming everywhere.
Streaming all over the universe.
Good shit.
Oh, I wanted to say something about The Wire.
Real quick before we get, I wanted Santino to get his closing arguments in because his brother's actually coming to scoop him. So I wanted to, because he's probably going to be off camera in the next few minutes. So go ahead.
I don't really have any. I don't really have any.
He's got nothing. Go, Mark. Go. Okay.
I was just gonna say, like, me and my wife caught The Wire like super late, and we binged it about like 3 or 4 years ago. We watched it, and we grew up in two different neighborhoods, two different hoods, but we could relate to these characters because you guys remember Dookie, right? As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, I know how this ends. Because like I knew a kid like that, and then when it ended the way I thought it was like the saddest thing ever. And then at the end of the show, everything goes back full circle. It's like nothing changed. You know what I mean? And it was like it's one of those shows that's really great and really deep, but it also can hurt your heart.
Those are the ones that leave those scars, and you remember it.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna say. Well, were you finished? You didn't
Yeah,
have
I'm good. I mean, I don't really have nothing else to say. I mean, I don't even know what the topic is to say because.
We were just saying that if you could talk to somebody.
Huh? Well, if I could talk to somebody about the show.
Yeah, what would you tell them?
Don't be a bitch and watch it.
That's what he actually. That's actually what he said to me. I swear to God, that those are verbatim. I can't even believe he actually.
Don't be a whiny bitch.
Those are the exact words he said to me.
Don't be a whiny bitch and watch it.
And I watched it.
Yeah.
And have not been a whiny bitch since. Thank you, Santino, for making me not a whiny bitch.
Well, every time I tell somebody to watch it, I'm like, listen, Santino said don't be a whiny bitch. So.
Just watch it.
Just watch it. Yeah.
I guarantee they'll have fun. I mean, if they don't, they're just demons.
There you go. That's how you know who the demons are.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna say the same thing I told everybody who I said watch it. I'm not gonna overhype it. Not gonna turn it into this whole, movement and this whole socially aware conscious experiment because it's none of those things. This show is basically and very simplistically a window into a lot of different issues, a lot of different dynamics, a lot of different points of views and perspective. I hated Black Lightning's wife. Most of the entire first season, I hated this woman with a passion. She would come on this television screen and I would get visibly upset. Santino would be like, chill out, man, chill out. I would get
I would pause it too. Like, I would pause it and I'd be like, the nerve of this bald-headed bitch.
This bald-headed bitch. No, we would get so mad. Excuse me, ladies. No, ladies that's watching, we would never be disrespectful to none of y'all like that, but she was being a bald-headed bitch. And it was just like, and you would think me and Santino were married to this woman. Like the way we would go on and on. I can't believe she's sleeping on the couch for anyway. And you could have came up here and slept with her. And like we was very upset about this woman. And like that's just one of the greatest parts about this show. I don't have to shove it down your throat. I don't have to tell you how great it is. I don't have to tell you all of the things you will get from it. Simply take the risk of just trying to enjoy it, just trying to watch it, and the rest will happen on its own. You cannot miss with this show. If, like Taryn said, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you've experienced, I don't care what you've done, what you've seen in your life. You can sit down and watch this show and be opened up to an entire... When you find out, if you are sheltered and you don't know anything about the world around you, and you watch this show to find out that the world around you works the way that it does, and you can find that out through this show, it's ridiculously surreal. And also, as a black man, I am profusely proud of the entire cast at Black Lightning. Shout out to every single one. And this is just me taking my moment to get on my black people soapbox. I have not done it the whole show. I'm entitled, goddammit, and I'm gonna do it for this 2 seconds. Thank you, all the people in that show, all of the black people in that show, all the white people in that show, for making us look so damn good. A show about black people that doesn't demonize us, that doesn't make us drug dealers, that doesn't make us pimps and hoes and prostitutes. Just thank you so much, and it's so refreshing for us to look that damn good on. I mean, Black Panther, yeah, everybody got that experience, and the Kings and Queens on. This is a step way down from that, and it still makes us look phenomenal, like mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and sons and school teachers and police officers and lawyers and assistant principals, and not a thing. Or someone that you can easily dismiss or look down upon because of whatever you've been taught throughout your life. This show, it really does put us on a pedestal, and I wouldn't even say a pedestal. It puts us finally on the ground level. It puts us level with everyone else on the planet. And thank you so much for the people, the writers behind this, black, white, Puerto Rican, the Chinese. Thank you all for the effort. For the artistic visualism of everything you've done for this show, and thank you for what it's doing not only for my community but for everyone who's looking at it and enjoying it. You guys have done a phenomenal job. Thank you so very much to the CW and the cast at Black Lightning. Can you stop eating my candy?
Man, I'm taking all the snacks.
You can't eat all the snacks.
Taking all the snacks.
All right, Santino has to go now.
I got low blood sugar.
He's done.
I got
He's
low
finished
blood
with his
sugar.
part of the interview. He's going home. He's eating all my strawberry candy.
I'm hypoglycemic.
I mean, I just gotta say, like, you put it out, so why you put it there though?
Yeah, you put it there.
It was for me, Jessica. I put it there for me.
In front of you,
But it's over
on
here.
your lap. Put it on your lap. You can't touch.
That's what I'm gonna
Have
do.
you learned nothing from this podcast?
This is terrible.
Black Lightning would share.
All the candy on the table, and they're vultures. Oh my God! There's gonna no candy for the kids.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
How am I wearing a Green Goblin shirt and you're the rude one?
Listen, first of all, I got my Black Lightning shirt on, so you can't talk to me like that on this show. But since you brought it up, and my shirt's better than yours, I think I'll just leave it at that. I think that's enough. I think the people at home are fine with that. My shirt's
Let's
better
see.
than
Do we
yours.
go with the one who's...
Would this be a good plug for all the Amalga-Mania shirts we have on the market right now?
Thank you. Oh,
Amalga-Mania shirt?
Actually,
You
thank
have
you, Mark.
Amalga-Mania shirts?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mark. We have, I don't know how we did it. Actually, we didn't do it. Taryn Barber somehow broke all
Like
the
who did
barriers of legalities. Yeah, there is no we in this. I would love to take.
I didn't do shit.
No, I do take a lot of the credit off of camera, but I can't now because she's here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her the credit. Taryn Barber has somehow broken the barrier between the legalities with some of the characters in Marvel and DC, and we are going to have official Amalga-Mania t-shirts with comic book characters, real comic book characters, and different other characters on them. Check it out. Order them now. Get you some. My Daredevil one is on the way. I know y'all gonna be jealous, so buy your own, and you're not borrowing mine.
Where's my Static Shock shirt?
Yeah.
There is no Static
Where's my
Shock shirt.
Static Shock shirt? Yeah, I second that, cool. We
Wait
need
a
more
minute. The president's right there. Why y'all yelling at me? I just work here. The woman that y'all need to yell at is right there.
Now he throws it back to me.
Everybody, yeah. Matter of fact, the Taryn Barber is the president.
I was just trying to get Static Shock on this show. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah.
No, but I have over 30 different designs. And the poll that I put up on the site was only 6 because I didn't want to put up 30 because I thought that would be overwhelming. People choose from 30. So I put up 6, and the one that got the most overwhelming love was the X-Men shirt.
With the X?
X-Men shirt, yeah, with the X.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be ordering that one. And then more will be appearing. Like, we're going to order some to sell and to give away, so keep your eye out for that.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, we have t-shirts in production with actual comic book characters that say Amalga-Mania. And they can be customized. So if you want things like your name on the shirt, for example, I can do that too. So just keep your eye out for that. Also, we are in the midst of the Halloween tournament. I'm sure you've seen the different bios for the characters popping up. The battle's going up in the evening. Make sure you vote. There have been a lot of comments on these battles, which is awesome. So that's going to be continuing. It's bracket style. So right now we're in round 1. Next week we'll start round 2. So we're in the middle of doing that. What else we got going on?
Oh
Coming up.
man, well thank you very much for
Make
asking.
sure to be checking out Amalga Beauties.
Yes,
Oh, absolutely. Bi-weekly, our face-off challenges. And
Yes.
there's going to be a lot of activity towards the end of Halloween with the beauties. I can't leak too much, but all I'm saying is there'll be a lot of scary stuff going on, so check it out.
Guys, I have a question for you. Are you aware of any comedy podcasts out there that maybe talk about geeky
I
things?
think I do. Well,
Yeah.
the last time I had a Weekend Geek myself, I got to express it on the Justin versus Justin show. And I'll tell you, those guys over there, more so, and I'm going to be 100% honest, more so than the content on the show, listening to these two dudes just talk to each other it's
great.
hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious, especially
I
when they
cannot
get
keep
into their impressions. And I mean, it was like I was listening to mine last night as I was cleaning up, getting ready for this show and organizing things. And it was like I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I thought I was watching Justin, and it's like it was Arnold Schwarzenegger for like 40 minutes. And I was like, what is going on? And I actually thought it was Arnold for the first 2. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And it was these two doing impressions. Please, if you need a laugh and you need some good information and you need to just hear about some geeky stuff, check our boys out, Justin and Justin, every Tuesday, correct?
Yep, Tuesdays, just when Old Man Wade's going to bed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Check them out. They're all over the universe. iPod, iTunes, YouTube.
iPod.
Yeah, I know, right? Did they even make those? Did they even make any of those things? But yeah, please check out Justin and Justin all over the universe on any publication you can get them on. And check them
Look on their
out.
Walkman.
Yeah, on your
You can stream us on
Walkman.
your Zoom.
On your Sony disc, man. You say that to
8-track.
one of these kids nowadays, they'll be like, what the hell's that?
Play it on your 8-track.
But also the...
I will send you an 8-track of Saturday Night Fever.
That is
That'd be
terrible.
awesome.
That is terrible.
I would love something like that.
Oh my gosh, she actually really would probably.
Noted.
Amalga auction. I cannot express to you people more so than I already have. This is easily the biggest auction we've had. You got to check it out. It's just too much to tell you about. But for starters, the Dark Side DC Icons action figure, the 7-pack of the Justice League are just the action figures, just the actual action figures from the first lot. There's comic books, collectibles, posters. There might be some all kind of mystical relics and power-ups and stuff in there. Check it out. Also, the Amalga Book Club, full swing, $5 per admission. Come get in. We're dropping free books in the group. There's just so much going on. Amalga-Mania, your place where all characters are welcome. If you're not hip, get hip.
Now, Ian, I will say I completely forgot about the auction. So how would people find that within the group?
How they find the auction?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's pretty easy. Just follow Luis Rodriguez around. I mean, if you really want to get to the auctions, follow Luis Rodriguez around. He is the Broad Street bully of all the. This guy calls me in the middle of the night. I swear to God, he's like, "Hey yo, son." I get calls from
I
this
believe
dude
it.
in the middle of the night. He's like, "Hey yo, son, I didn't see no new pictures for the auction this week, B. What's going on? Where they at?" He's like really extorting me for information on the auction so he could be the first guy. I'm a little scared. He's a scary dude, and I think you guys should tell him to chill out and stop picking on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta interrupt real quick. I gotta head out. I'm sorry for cutting it short, but it was a pleasure chopping it up with y'all. Thank you for having me.
Tomorrow,
And,
who wins?
Alright, yes, I will see you guys next time on the Skype world. Y'all take it easy.
I'll see you online later.
He gone.
Yeah.
He gone.
Y'all know where I'm at. Holla! Holla!
He's blacked out. He got words.
I got words!
I swear to God, he actually says that at least sometimes when he's with me. It's funny. But yeah, no. If you wanna get in on the auctions, simply ask, and I can put you down. It's a pleasure meeting you, brother.
Take care. It was nice meeting you.
If you want to get in on the auction, simply ask and we can put you down. Or, like I said, follow Luis Rodriguez around. I'm sure he knows he's got all the info on him. Also, Taryn Barber, Tasha Roberts, Justin Cooper, Jessica Gisako. Please, just if you know any of them, just message them. They can give you the links that you need for it. And we will be also admitting people inside of the auction as it's going on this year. We're going to do things a little bit different. If you're down at the last minute and you want to jump in, obviously we won't let you retro bid on items, but if you want to jump in and get on whatever's left, you're more than welcome to come through. But it is a closed auction, meaning once you're in, you're in. And there won't be any other additions after the fact. So if you come in right at the last minute, we will allow it. But once the auction starts, that's it. It's just the patrons who are in there. Shout out to George Brennan, Luis Rodriguez, J. Damian Dillon, J. Demain Dillon, and everyone who participated in all of our first, Jessica, everyone who participated in our first auctions, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have been able to do the things that we did with Amalga Market and make the leeway that we have. You guys are just awesome and essential, and thank you so much. And get down with the next one. When I say, look, just to kind of give y'all, and I don't normally do this, especially with Taryn Barber around, because she likes to ridicule and criticize people. So I don't normally do stuff like this when she's around. But I don't care. No, I don't care. I don't care. Because I got Mark Wade on the show with me and Coop with me, and I'm not afraid. Today, I'm not afraid. So we're going to show what you got. We got the...
Before you say anything, I'll just let you know, I'm siding with Taryn, so you're on your own, dude.
We have the solidarity, brother. We're gonna talk about
solidarity. I'm playing for women to control the world.
Exactly.
Mark Wade had to go, y'all. He's having technical difficulties and he can't hear or see or participate anymore. But that's okay because we're gonna keep moving forward from here. We have the 4-pack of the Marvel Legends 4-pack. Yeah,
Is that
the
Moon
Marvel
Knight?
Legends Spider-Man, Daredevil, Elektra, and the Punisher. This is going to be in the second lot. There's going to be at least 2 comic books for each character. That means about 12 books. Listen, people, if you have not seen these Amalga auctions, ask one of the people who got one of the prize lots from them and ask the amount of stuff that they got for the amount of money that they spent. And I'm telling you, you can't get this anywhere. You can't. You cannot. I don't care where you go, what comic book shop, specialty shop, and I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. The Amalga Market and the Amalga auctions will pretty much beat any price that you can find on Amazon and in any specialty shop. And if we can't, we're definitely negotiating with you to get you close. Because that's what we're aiming to do. We're trying to give some of this stuff back. And that's the whole point. So it's not just about the money. We've been doing fine without it, doing fine with it. This is about giving back to the culture. So please participate in these auctions. Participate in this Amalga Market. These items are for you guys. We buy them with you guys in mind, and we put the prices at prices that you guys could definitely afford. So check it out.
And sometimes we just give shit away for free.
Absolutely. Every week.
Yep.
Every week on Amalga-Mania, if you're in the group, you either, if you're paying attention and involved with pretty much anything, makeup kits, comic books, action figures,
T-shirts.
drones, T-shirts.
Guys, I cut you off for a second. I just realized I really gotta go.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I will see you guys next time.
Okay.
Everybody in Amalga-Mania, make sure you pay attention to the auctions and everything, because I was one of the people who won the last one. I'll tell you, I literally fought people for it.
Scratching their eyes out and all that.
So, but it's really cool because that was some of the first like actual physical comic books that I've ever had and action figures that I've ever had, other than the ones I played with my little brother. So it's exciting. You definitely get like an adrenaline rush, and then you get super hyped because you're like, I get presents now.
Well, Jess, thanks so much for joining us, honey, and we look forward to seeing you more in the group. And tell me what you know about this show when it airs, and tag them.
Yes. Definitely will. All right.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you for
Jess.
having me, guys.
Real quick, I just kind of wanted to, if you guys, before you guys leave on us, and actually I know Taryn, you got to get going soon. I just wanted to kind of touch on something that Jessica kind of brought up, and it's just a very big point of this group, and something that I never really get a chance to really talk about. We've sent young kids to the movies for the first time for their first comic book movie. We've given a lot of people their first exposure to comic books. We've given some beginning collectors their first items in their collection. we've made history. I want to make that very clear about this group. Every single admin, all of you, the ones who are active now, the ones who were there in the beginning, the ones who are more prevalent right now as we're speaking. I wanted to just kind of touch on this. We've made history in a lot of different ways, and I just wanted to thank you all for the effort that you've put in. Coop, you are the man's insane. He's sending out a long box of comics every other week. I mean, Coop's giving away more comics than the entire group combined by himself.
It's really a problem.
I think he's a little addicted, honestly, to it. I think he just likes mailing shit to
you guys
people.
the comics I'm giving away?
And that, look at this.
Crazy.
That's nuts. I wish you people could see this at home. Coop's got, oh, well, they will. Coop's got, like, and he gives them away all the time. And I just want to, more so than a lot of people, I hear people sometimes touch on the fact that, oh, it's a gimmick for popularity, it's this, it's that. I don't think you realize that that's not what this is about. Like, we are responsible for some geeky, pimple-faced kid whose parent is probably in our group getting his first comic book. We are responsible for, I know for a fact that we sent Jimmy Timberlake's son to go see Black Panther for the first time. That little boy will always have that memory with his father because of our giveaway. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure Jimmy would have taken him to go see it anyway. But the fact that we had something to do with that, it's history. It's monumental. So it's not just a show about, it's not just a place where you come and do your nerd thing. It's a lot of substance. It's a lot of, beginning milestones. So please, if you're not in this group, or if you're just now getting into the group, look at the content. Do the searches, hashtags in the group. Look around at the content and what's going on. You're going to find something you love, and you're probably going to end up getting something just for being in the group. And thank you all for all your patronage, all the admins. Mark Wade, you have always been a supporter of this conglomerate of ours ever since your show kind of joined on with ours, and every effort and every show that we've done together. I just want to say thank you so much for always being there and giving us quality the Old Man Wade show every week, and for letting us promote that and sharing it with us in the group. If you guys are not checking that out, get on it. Old Man Wade show every single week. These people are bringing you more than just comics, more than just geek stuff. These guys are touching on issues that I don't think half of the world is ready for. So go ahead and listen in. Go ahead and get you some.
I would exactly call it quality, but
That's not quality. But hey, but you're gonna get something if you come through there. But yeah, definitely check them out, man. And thank you all for joining us. It's been a great show. I can't wait for this to air.
We pray at night for the helpless, hoping you get us through breakfast. Wishing somebody come save us.